Rocco Spindler, Nebraska lands Rocco Spindler. Huge ad for Nebraska, if I do say so myself. I think that Rocco Spindler is going to be a big addition to this team, not just for his ability, but the way that Nebraska can now kind of reshuffle their offensive line. They had a center issue. Justin Evans should be able to move over to center now if they want. I think from what I've heard, Rocco Spindler is also going to possibly get a few reps at tackle. That was one of the reasons why it was so important for him to want to get to spring ball. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Michigan told him he wasn't going to be able to participate in spring ball because it was so late, and that was a contributing factor on why he didn't go there. Nebraska was very proactive in making sure that he could play in spring ball, though. Pitt was as well, but ultimately Nebraska a better destination, and I think they offered more NIL money too. So credit there to Nebraska for being able to do that. But as far as I'm concerned, like this gives Nebraska options on their offensive line. They're not stuck in a scenario where it's like, well, we have no center. I guess we have to move somebody else over now. No, you can move Justin Evans over. Rocco Spindler can come in at guard for you. Or you can have a young up and comer come up and play guard, and you can move Rocco Spindler, possibly, we'll see, over to tackle for you. I mean, the opportunities here are there. It just kind of depends on how spring practice goes and what these guys do. What are your thoughts on the addition of Rocco Spindler to Nebraska, Zach?
I mean, it's huge, huge. Because what's the thing that Nebraska has to do to get to jump from the 6-7 win range to maybe the 8-9-10 win range and Big Ten championship contention? Protect your young quarterback. Let him develop. Give him time. What do you need to do that? You got to build your offensive line. You got to do what Notre Dame did, right? Which is have an offensive line that goes 8, 9, 10 deep. You got to do what Ohio State did. That's what Nebraska's doing now. And you're getting, again, high level guys where they not only are able to play their position well, but they can move around a bit, which helps your depth, helps your ability to deal with injury, gives you new options when things go awry. And you need that to keep your young quarterback upright, which is one of the biggest issues they had this past year. So you're getting a proven guy, you're getting a guy with championship pedigree. I mean, I feel very similar in saying this with Pat Coogan. Probably the one difference is that Nebraska is an established brand, but they are trying to find their footing under this new regime. And I think it's showing that despite what we were saying before about Matt Rhule, I'm not sure this is a great. I'm not sure this is a great high or not great hire. I'm not sure this is a great decision to do the spring game uh, stuff. But this is why you bring in Matt Rhule to stabilize and to build the right way, and that's exactly what this is.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, this is what Nebraska needs as a head coach for all of, everything wants everybody wants to say about Matt Rule and whatever people say think about coaches. Ne- Matt Rule is a stable piece for this Nebraska program right now, and being able to have that is so valuable. Not just for adding recruits, but adding transfer portal guys, everything else. It's huge. HWF3 asks, who's Nebraska's tough games? Nebraska actually has a pretty favorable schedule next year. They open up at Arrowhead Stadium against Cincinnati. That's kind of their big out of conference game. And then they get Michigan at home. And Michigan, depending on what they do with their quarterback situation, that could be favorable as Bryce Underwood will still be kind of, working in there. Or if it's Mikey Keene, that would, I don't know if that would be better. We'll see. We'll have to see how they play. But then they really don't face, and I'm not trying to disparage any other teams here, but they don't face a top tier program until week 13 at Penn State. And then they have home against Iowa to end it. So your away games here in the conference are Maryland, Minnesota, UCLA, and Penn State. Like those are pretty manageable
Yeah.
for Nebraska. I don't see them winning at Penn State, but also, Illinois took Penn State down to the wire at Penn State last year. So
Mm-hmm.
if Nebraska can be anything close to what Illinois was last year, which I think they can, you could see something like that happen there. But I also think Penn State's going to be better next year than they were last year.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah.
And I think
And
and
then,
I think
oh, go ahead.
Michigan. Well, I was gonna say Michigan's defense is still gonna be Michigan's defense.
They
And
just don't have the first round like star players on there.
Yeah.
And that's going to be interesting to me is see how does Michigan do without those guaranteed kind of first round star players on their defense? Um, if their development's really good, they'll be fine. But
Yeah.
we'll see. And then PK asks, wonder if cheating scandal hurt Michigan. I think he's asking in the Rocco Spindler case. Not from what I've heard. Honestly, I don't think any of that stuff is going to affect anything until an actual punishment comes down, and the punishment will have to be. I mean, if like they get rid of the national championship, that's not going to hurt anything at all.
Mhm.
Again, the fans
Postseason.
saw it. They still went
Yeah.
through it. Like everybody felt it. It's what we've been saying here for a while. The only thing that could possibly hurt stuff is if they get some kind of bowl ban. And if it's a 1 year bowl ban, I don't think that does anything. If it's a 3 year bowl ban, maybe. But at the end of the day, like I, I think everybody has in their mind every time Michigan loses, and I'm not saying PK does, but I think everybody has in their mind like if Michigan loses out on a transfer or a recruit, it's because of the cheating scandal and stuff. I don't know if it plays that much of a factor into it. At least it hasn't from what people have told me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. There's too much uncertainty.
yeah, there's a lot of uncertainty right now. So
And we know why there's
Joe R said
uh,
Maryland Wolf.
that's
Maryland.
fair. But I say we know why there's
was
uncertainty,
funny.
right? We
Yeah.
know why. Because the NCAA stinks.
Yes.
Buy the T-shirt. Buy it.
Yes. I don't have that picture loaded up anymore, but if I did, I'd show it. All right, let's see. Anything else on this Rocco Spindler stuff? I think it's pretty straightforward. I think it's a really good ad for Nebraska. I think that it allows them to, have some versatility on their offensive line. And I think, Elijah Pritchett, as much as some Alabama fans say that Elijah Pritchett was not a good ad because he was terrible last year, guess who Alabama fans thought was terrible last year? And he turned out to be the Remington Award winner. Seth McLaughlin. The fact is, Alabama had a terrible quarterback. The fact that he's going to get drafted in the NFL is just absolutely wild to me. Nobody should be looking at Jalen Milroe and say that's a guy who can play quarterback in the NFL. He's an athletic freak. He is not a quarterback. Nope. He is a worse quarterback than Anthony Richardson was at Florida. And that's saying something.
Yeah. Oof. That's hard to. Philip.
Don't tempt us, Philip.
Yeah, Philip. That.
Zach will get off on a tangent if we let him. So.
Yeah. Okay. Put it down. Put it down.